welcome to Graze University, the first installment of Graze University, likely the last. Today's topic is going to be customer service. Welcome once again. I'm John Listowski, owner of Graze, along with my wife, Becca. We met in the first video on your first day of employment when we took a tour of our main kitchen. And we've met when we've sliced chicken together and tomatoes and made sandwiches and salads. This is the last video or two videos. We don't know if this is one video or two videos or three videos. These are the last videos you're going to watch of me. So congratulations on completing all the training videos. Today's topic of customer service is really about skills that are going to make your experience better here for you, for the staff, and for customers. It's also, these are great skills to carry on with you wherever you may go to from Graze. This is a little bit nervous for me. I used to do this when I was a 7th grade school teacher. Doing it in front of cameras is a little odd, but it's not as terrifying as doing my Zoom meetings with my French teacher. That's even more terrifying. The only notes I expect you to write today are what I put down on the whiteboard. If you choose to write more notes, that's great. If you choose to just write what I write, that's awesome too. If you have any questions, please jot them down on the piece of paper. We will go over them at the end of the video. If you're watching this video, jot down your notes, go to your manager, and they will give you a great answer in a few minutes when it's done. A quick bit of history. I like history. I like people knowing kind of where we came from and how we got here. Beck and I moved to Walla Walla in 2005. I opened a catering business in 2006. She was a hairstylist. I was a former 7th grade science teacher. We opened the catering business in 2006. I was the only employee, and we thought it'd be nice to try to be able to serve food year-round instead of just 9 months out of the year. So we ended up finding this location in downtown Walla Walla, and we opened Graze Sandwich Shop. Things went reasonably well. We opened the drive-thru in Walla Walla in 2009. 2012. We opened the Kennewick store in 2014, Richland in the Parkway in 2015. In 2020, we moved our kitchen into a big giant space where we had much bigger space to work with, which was great. 2021, we moved from the Richland Parkway. We closed that store and we moved it on the George Washington Way, and now it's super busy. 2023, we opened Graze drive-through 395 in the Tri-Cities, and hopefully more stuff happens in the future. The store we're in today is very unlike the store we first opened. Things are pretty nice now. Back in the day, our walk-in cooler was a home refrigerator. So it just had a little tiny freezer on top and a little fridge down below. That was all the refrigeration we had for storage in the back. We didn't have a hood. The panini presses would smoke, and in the middle of lunch service, smoke would waft into the dining room. We didn't have a menu on the wall. We didn't have wainscoting on the wall. We didn't have wallpaper or signage. In fact, it was just this same beige colored wall all the way through. We didn't even have a sign on the front of the building. It took 3 years before we finally got a sign. So we actually used to hand slice all the bread for the paninis. We sliced our own cheese in the store. We pickled our own jalapenos. We pickled our own carrot daikon. It was kind of crazy. We used to hand grate Parmesan. That's how nutty this place was. We hand washed all the dishes. It was silly. So today, the Graze that you are entering is wildly different than the Graze from the beginning. And there's only a few employees who remember that same memory that I do. So from the beginning, though, the things that make Graze Graze today are the same things that we had when we first started. And we've never written a mission statement, and we don't intend to. But the core tenets was if we serve good food at a good value with good service, we're going to be successful. Now, the good value part comes from Becca and I. So we are the ones who determine what the prices is on the menu, what the prices are on the menu. If we raised everything by $3, it wouldn't be a good value anymore, and we'd be wildly less busy. Our intention with good value is to charge $10 or $11 for something that people think they're going to pay $13 or $14 for elsewhere. The second thing is good food. We've always had good food. We've always made it ourselves. We make, as you know, we make everything ourselves. We have 13 employees at our main kitchen who work 7 days a week, banging out like really strict recipes, really strict processes. I don't mean strict in a way of like it's not fun to be there. I mean strict in like we really pay attention to how we do the process. Everything's measured down to the gram or the ounce. And then you guys have another team of 10 or 12 people who work at each shop who pay attention to how we make our sauces, and you pay attention to how we make sandwiches. So the good food part has always been taken care of. And the good service has always been really there with Graze, but we've never trained for it. So we have training for how we do our food, and Beck and I pay close attention to the value at each shop, but the customer service side is really only up to one person often. So oftentimes you've got a team of 7 people working lunch, or 6 people, or 5 people, but the customer's experience really has to do with the one individual they run into behind the register. And so our intention with this training is to make the experience with one employee very similar to the next employee, very similar to the next employee. If somebody comes to Walla Walla, downtown Walla Walla, they should feel the same way about the service as they do in Kennewick, as they do at our drive-thru, as they do in Richland, so on and so forth. Okay? With that, I hope that doesn't sound negative, because I think Graze's customer service is really fairly fantastic. I would put us at the 85th percentile or above. I think we're better than most places, okay? But what we're trying to do here is give you guys skills to make you even better at doing that, rather than just kind of fumbling along and figuring it out, all right? So now we finally get to write something on our whiteboard. I'm going to say we sat down and thought about this and decided that we needed a big vision. Even though we don't have a mission statement, we need to have something that we're shooting for in this process. So we get to write this down. We want to be known as the best customer experience in the fast food, fast casual, and sandwich shop space. Okay? Like the best. If you polled 1,000 people in Walla Walla and said who has the best customer service of all of these restaurants that are similar, that we would come out on top. Okay? So, same goes for Tri-Cities. To be known as, or to, be known as the best customer experience in fast food. All right, FF, fast casual. That'd be like Panera, Chipotle, Jersey Mike's, that kind of thing. And sandwich shop world, Jimmy John's and Subway and the whatnot. Now, if our big goal is to be known as the very best, we need to kind of break that big goal and turn it into kind of a daily goal, okay? So our daily goal is going to be to make each customer's day just a little bit better. Super simple. To make each customer's day a little better. Now, when I say make each customer's day a little better, that doesn't mean we're going to start doing backflips behind the counter. We're not going to tell jokes to every customer. We're not going to compliment every customer. We are going to take and just do a good job with the mindset that we want to try to make each customer's experience or day just a little better. Sometimes a customer is hungry. They know they need to get something quickly. They know they've got a budget, right? And they think, oh, Graze will be able to take care of that for me. So they park their car, they walk in here, they order a turkey avocado, they wait 5 minutes, they take it, they leave. We've made their day better, right? They were hungry, they got treated nicely, and they walked out the door. We are already making lots of customers' days better every day. So what we're going to do now is, I love charts. I'm a big chart guy. We're going to take and imagine the customer's experience kind of like a movie. Like we're filming a movie here today, and then we're going to imagine a customer's experience. But we're going to imagine it from their point of view, not from our point of view here in the kitchen. Okay? So a customer walks in the door, the entirety of the experience we're going to put onto this chart. here, okay? So every movie has a beginning, and so that's what we're going to call it, the beginning. And every movie has a middle, and not surprisingly, every movie has an end. And now we need to identify what happens during these parts. So we want to know when the beginning begins, when the middle begins, when the end begins, when the end. We want to know what it looks like. We want to know how long it takes. And we want to give a nickname to each of these parts because I think it's pretty boring. Nickname. I think it's pretty boring calling it the beginning, middle, and end. So I'm going to propose to you that the customer movie does not start when they open the door. Okay? When they open the door, they're getting an impression of Graze, they're doing whatever. But really, we're talking about when you start interacting with the customer. Okay? And I'm going to say that the customer movie begins when you make eye contact with the customer. Okay? So when you make eye contact is when it starts. And the beginning of the movie, the very next thing after you make eye contact with a customer is you're probably going to greet them. We're going to say hello, okay? So it's going to be eye contact to greeting, and then after you greet them or you chat with them for just a minute, sometimes they want to tell you a little bit about their day, maybe they don't. You're going to ask them what they want. And what you want is going to be the beginning of the middle of our movie. Okay? What would you like? So now, I've just told you from the time you make eye contact to the time you say hello to the customer, that is an incredibly short period of time. This is like 5 seconds. And what we're going to call this is the first impression. It's the first impression the customer has of you. It's also the first impression you have of the customer. So the middle is going to be from when we ask, what would you like, all the way to then their entire experience here at Graze until they're ready to clean up. Okay? So this is going to be, the middle is going to begin when you say, what would you like? And the end is going to start when they start to clean up, okay? Start to clean up. And then the movie is going to go done, roll credits when they leave, when they're out the door, okay? Start to clean up to leave. Now, I told you the beginning is like 5 seconds. And the middle is from when you say to the customer, hey, what would you like today? And then all the way until they sit there and they eat and they clean up. The middle can sometimes be very short, like I ordered turkey avocado and I'm out the door, 5 minutes. And the middle sometimes can be, I mean, I have seen old ladies sit here for 2 hours, but we're going to say on average 60 minutes, okay? So we got 5 minutes all the way to 60 minutes. Of all this stuff happening here. And the end is from when they clean up to when they leave, that's like 30 seconds tops. So in our movie, we've got this very, very short beginning, we have this very, very short end, and we've got all this stuff that happens in the middle. All this stuff that happens in the middle is we're going to kind of like say that's our date. We've gone on a date. We've gone on a blind date. Our first impression is when we smile and say hi. Now we go have dinner. We talk the whole time. And then the end is when we drop them off at their house, or they drop us off at our house, and we get to say, do you want to have a second date? So this is when we get to ask them the question, do you want to have a second date? And this is our customer experience movie in chart form. And can you believe that Becca has to live with me? This is what every night I make a chart for her and I show her what happened during the day. No, I don't. Okay, we're going to erase this part. You get to turn to the next page. We're going to the beginning. All right, so the beginning. The beginning's our first impression. It's super short. Okay, I got a dirty little secret for you. If you're watching this video, if you're in this room, you got hired almost entirely based on your first impression. In fact, you didn't even need to bring in a resume. You just needed to bring in a piece of paper with your name and your phone number and your email address on it. Nope, probably just your name and your phone number. And the day you came in to apply to Graze, you showed up with your resume, and then you walked up and you made sure you were dressed a little better, made sure your hair was combed, made sure you maybe put on some perfume or some cologne, I don't know, your shoes were clean. And then you showed up and then you used your best voice and you looked them in the eye and you spoke as clearly as you could. And that 30 seconds happened. They asked you just a couple questions, they wrote it down, and by the time you were out the door, whoever took your information wrote 3 big stars on the top, put it on the top of the pile, and said, I'm calling this person tomorrow or the next day. You are a top of the pile candidate, okay? First impressions are very important. First impressions here at Graze and everywhere else in life are super important. So, what does a good first impression look like? Well, a first impression looks like a friendly greeting, eye contact, a warm smile, and it's genuine. Friendly greeting, eye contact, warm smile, it's genuine. There's probably 5 other descriptors that I haven't used. Genuine is very important to us, okay? There is a coffee shop, a national chain coffee shop that makes sure that they compliment every customer on something when they come to the line. Oh, I love your hair today. Oh, that baseball cap's really cool. Oh, I love your sweater. Oh, your car's really cute. And they do this all day ad nauseum, okay? You probably know the coffee shop that I'm talking about that does this. It is, in my view, it's fake and annoying and I hate it, but apparently lots of people love it because it's really busy. We want you to be genuine. We do not have a stock answer for how we greet people at Graze, okay? So, the most important thing we need to think about is our customers want to be paid attention to as people, not transactions, which is why when we make eye contact, the first thing we're going to say to them is, hello, welcome, how are you, nice to see you, hi Joe, right? We're going to do all those things that say, I see you as a person. The first thing we are not going to say to a customer is, what would you like? Because when we look at them and the first thing we say is, what would you like? We've just turned them straight into a transaction, okay? So, customers want to be paid attention to as a person, not a transaction. Customers want to be paid attention to as a person, not a transaction. When we greet them, when we ask them how their day is going, when we do all that, what we're really saying is, I see you as a person, and then they're going to see us as people. When we treat them as transactions, they just look like us as Sandwich robots, and we just look like them as transactions, okay? So the first thing we do is always recognize the person. Then the second thing we get to do is say, what would you like today? So first is recognize the person. And it's second, always second, we get to say, what would you like? Most bad experiences in customer service and at Graze, I think can be chalked up to a bad first impression. I think most of the time it's chalked up to a bad first impression. So we're gonna write that part down too. Most bad experiences are because of a bad first impression. I guarantee that none of you would have been hired at Graze if you made a bad first impression when you walked in that 30 seconds, right? No chance, because we're not going through resumes looking for, do they have this skill, do they have that skill, okay? What we're looking at is the person. The person walks in, we like them, we write down notes about them, they walk out. We don't go through and say, you know, they've worked 6 months at this other sandwich shop, and they worked at this other customer service job, and they worked at this, and they worked at that. What we're doing is first looking at the person, okay? So I'm going to give you an example of how the first impression can be so powerful. And I'm going to call this the Karen example, and I'm apologizing to my mother right now for using that name. Karens have gotten a bad rap all over the country. Unfortunately, my mother's named Karen. It was a great name until it got ruined by social media. So Karen's going to walk into this store right here, or any store that we run, and Karen's going to walk in, and there's 3 employees back there, and it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and there's 2 customers in here. Karen's never been to Graze before. Karen walks in, she sees 3 employees back there, nobody looks up. So she doesn't know what to do, so then she goes and looks at the menu board, and then she looks back at the kitchen, and one of the employees looks up, and they make eye contact with her, and then they put their head back down. And then she's like, okay. And then she looks at the menu, and she decides she's going to get a quinoa salad. So then she walks over to the register, and the employee kind of glances up, walks over, and says, what would you like? And he says, oh, I've never been here before. I'll have the quinoa salad. She says, okay, great. And she takes her order, and what's your name? Karen. Thanks, Karen. Go stand over there, Karen. It'll be just a few minutes. And they go back, and she goes to work. So she hasn't done anything wrong. The employee's been actually somewhat polite, right? But not like great. And Karen goes back and stands over here, and she doesn't think that was terrible. She doesn't even really know what to think. And then she looks at the bus tub, and she sees it half full of dirty dishes. And then she looks under her table, and she sees a dirty napkin or a crumpled up napkin. And she's like, man, this place is a little bit dirty. And then she hears the employees talk and laugh to each other, and they're all enjoying each other. And she's like, oh, are they making a joke about me? Right? My name is Karen. I get joked about a lot. And so she's standing out here and she's thinking, that's weird. They are really having a good time back here, and this place is dirty. And then the order's ready in 4 minutes, and we hand Karen her quinoa salad, and she goes home and she eats it, and it's a perfect quinoa salad. It's as good as we can make, okay? The next day, or actually, well, this is like one of those time loops. I don't know, one of those Marvel movies or something. So she comes right back in. She has no memory of this experience. She comes in, same person, she's never been here before. It's 2 p.m., there's 2 people in here, there's 3 employees working, and she walks in, and employees are working away, and one looks up and says, oh, welcome. And she goes, oh, hi, I've never been here before. She goes, oh, okay, let me know if you need anything. And then she stands and looks at the menu, and then she walks over, and the employees are working away, and then she goes over and she goes, oh, how are you today? She says, oh, I'm good. She says, well, what are you going to have? I'll have a quinoa salad. Great. What's your name? Karen? Great, Karen. Be ready in a few minutes. Stand over there. She goes back. Now, Karen's just had a good experience. She's been recognized as a person. Her needs have been met. So when she stands here, she sees a half-full bus tub. She sees a crumpled napkin under the floor. And what does Karen think? Well, this place is really busy. It must be good. And then she hears the employees laugh, and she hears them talk to each other. And she thinks, oh, wow, they must enjoy working here. This is a good place to work. And then she goes home and she eats the same quinoa salad she had the day before, and she loves it. She loved it the day before, and she loves it this day. And then her girlfriend calls her and says, hey, where do you want to go to lunch tomorrow? In the first example, she says, I don't know where I want to go to lunch. Where do you want to go to lunch? She says, let's go to T-Max. And the second example, she has a great experience. She says, I just ate at this place, Graze. It was great. Let's go there, okay? This is actually a psychology term. It's called being primed. So what's happening is, because she had a good experience in that first impression, her brain started to look for all the things that justified her good impression, okay? But when she had a bad experience, her brain looks around and looks for all the things to justify her bad experience, okay? So you see how these 2 things, dirty dishes, crumpled napkin, employees laughing, have very different consequences based on the first 5 seconds of our interaction, okay? So what happens in our Karen example is our brain is primed. our brain is primed to see good, or our brain is primed to see bad. And with that, we get to turn the page to the middle. The middle. Now, this is the big date, this is the big dance, but like I told you, the most important thing is the first impression, right? But during the date, there's a lot of skills that we get to use in our experience here at Graze that let the customer know that we're paying attention to them and we like them and we want them to come back on the second date. So the first is, and remember, the middle starts when we say, what can I get for you, right? So it's going to take 5 minutes to 60 minutes, depending. And the first skill is we want to be personable. It should feel authentic, genuine, authentic. And I like to think of this as being on your best behavior, like meeting your boyfriend or girlfriend's parents for the first time, right? You're gonna pay attention to what you say, you're gonna pay attention to your face, you're gonna pay attention to how you laugh, you're gonna do all those things to be like, I wanna give my girlfriend's parents the best experience possible. So we're doing the same thing here when we're interacting with them. We're like, we want to be on our best behavior. I want to give them the best of me, okay? So this is like meeting your girlfriend or boyfriend's parents for the first time. Well, maybe some of you are scared of your girlfriend or boyfriend's parents, so maybe every time you meet them for the rest of your life. When customers ask us questions, we want to give them our honest opinion. We want to let them know. You may be vegan, and someone's like, what do you like better, the pork torta or steak torta? Well, the great answer is, I'm vegan, I don't eat that stuff, but we sell way more steak tortas than we do pork tortas. Customers love steak tortas, okay? Give them the answer you don't want to give them is, I'm vegan, I don't know, right? We want to let them know. We give them stuff. Customers love to hear what employees like to eat, okay? So we want to give them opinions. We want to give them little tips. Someone orders the vegan chickpea. Oh, have you tried the veggie tortas vegan? It's great. We want to let them know about the ingredient book. They ask a question about something. Oh yeah, there's the ingredient book right there. It'll let you know everything that's in our turkey. Okay. Second thing is we want to pre-problem solve. Pre-problem solve. The person working the front, the expediter and the person working the front are able to solve a lot of problems for our kitchen. And they're often able to solve those problems by just paying attention to the customer's needs or paying attention to what's happening in the dining room. Okay, one of the best pre-problem solves that we can possibly do is somebody's up here ordering and you can tell they've never been here before. The last thing you want to tell them when you tell them their order is going to be up or where, they're like, oh, I'm going to go sit down. And go, yeah, silverware napkins are over there on the wall. Silverware napkins are over there. Because what's going to happen is they're going to go sit over there without silverware napkins, and we're going to take their food all the way across the room, and it's busy. And when we get there, they're not going to have silverware. And then our job, because one of the things we're going to do that's extra and special, is to run over and get silverware and run back across the room, right? If we take and ruin someone's order, we make a panini and we accidentally burn it to crisp, right? We're like, we can't serve that. Well, we need to go find the person. Instead of putting another one on and not saying anything, we go out and find the person. Hey, Joe, we burned your panini, but we got another one going. We're going to switch it out with someone else's. We'll have you out in here in 3 minutes. And Joe's going to be like, oh, thanks for letting me know. They're going to be happy. Okay? So giving them information. Giving them updates. And I got one more example of pre-problem solve. Our shops get awfully busy. And there are times, especially in the downtown store on busy weekends, where we'll have a line out the door for a couple hours. And it is literally a zoo. And when we walk out with food, we want to go find the customer, not yell their name. Okay? So when we walk out with 2 plates, we want to know the name, and we want to look for a 2-top, and then we want to see that that name is Charlotte. And so now we know we're looking for a lady sitting with somebody else, and we see 2 teenage boys over there, and we go, nope, that's not them. And we see 2 men over there in the corner, and we go, nope, that's not them. And then we over here in the corner, we see 2 ladies, and we go over and we walk right up to them. We say, Charlotte? And Charlotte's going to be like, how did they know? That's awesome. She's going to be thrilled. Okay? There's a reason why we take names at Graze. We want to see people as a person. We don't take numbers. Okay? If we took numbers, we'd walk into the room and we'd yell, 17! And that is impersonal, and it doesn't make people feel good. Okay? So we're not going to yell. Now, for all of you working the sandwich shop, and you know you've done this trick where you walk around the room and you can't find them, if you've walked around the room and you've gone to all the 2-tops and you can't find them, you're perfectly welcome to yell. That's when you yell, but you don't yell first. You yell last. Third thing is we are going to under-promise and over-deliver. Under-promise, over-deliver. Remember the 3 things Graze is built on. Good value, good food, good service. Good value is an under-promise, over-deliver. We are selling things for $10, $11 that elsewhere somebody's going to pay $13 or $14 for. Okay? When we give times to customers, we always want to beat the time. So somebody says, how long is that going to be? We're going to look at our menu boards and we're going to see 10, 11, 12 minutes, 11 minutes, 12 minutes, 11 minutes, or it doesn't work like that, 12, 12, 11. And we're going to say, it's going to be 15 minutes. And then when we hand it to them at 13 minutes, they're going to be like, wow, they're doing an awesome job. But if we say, it'll be 10 to 15 minutes, what they're going to do, you're going to hand it at 13 and they're going to think, they could have worked faster, right? Like their subconscious mind is like 10 to 15 and we hand it to them at 13 and they're going to be like, oh, they didn't really go above and beyond and do a great job. But if we hand it to them at 13 when we've told them 15, they're going to be like, oh my goodness, this place is amazing. So we're going to beat the time. Anytime you give a customer a time estimation, make sure it is above what we're really going to be able to get out. Fourth is called do the extra. And we get to write a long sentence underneath this, and I think this is really important. Is amazing hospitality is doing something nice for someone that is needed but is totally not expected. Okay? One of the reasons that when we drop, we take a salad to someone and they haven't gotten a fork is that we have a self-serve counter of silverware here. And almost all our customers know, get their own stuff. But when they don't, and we run across the room and get it, and we bring it back to them, they're like, wow, these people are amazing. Most places that are set up like us, when you drop off their food, if they don't have the silverware, the employee is going to drop it off and walk right back into the kitchen. Okay? So we want to do the extra, which is amazing hospitality is doing something nice that is needed but not expected. These would be things like silverware. These would be things like getting the door for somebody if you're nearby. These would be like carrying out a large catering order to their car. These would be like remembering customers' names. We have a lot of customers who come in regularly and they love it when they are recognized by name. They go, There was a bar I used to go to that I was friends with the guy who owned it. And I would go to that bar once every 3 months. And every time I walked in, there was somebody who worked there who was like, hey, John, how's it going? Like, I was not a regular. I was a show up every once in a while kind of guy. And every time, someone who worked there knew me. And then when I would think to myself, where am I going to go? Like, if I was like, I need to go somewhere, Becca, I'm going to go somewhere. But always in my thought was, well, I'll go there. They take care of me. They look after me. They know who I am, right? Offering taste to customers. One of the greatest, have any of you ever gone to a fast food establishment and been like, should I get the chicken nuggets or the hamburger? And then the person behind the register says, do you want to try a chicken nugget? That has never happened in the history of fast food. In fact, fast food places don't give away mistakes. They're actually not allowed to because they're worried that their employees will purposely start making mistakes and handing it out to their friends. It is like, it goes in the garbage, okay? In fact, I think in a lot of places, employees don't even eat it, okay? When we make mistakes and we wrap it up, it often ends up in the next bag and is handed to a customer, right? They come in, they order a panini, and we go, hey, we got this extra jack sitting around. It was a mistake. No one else is here. Would you like it? And customers are like, oh my goodness. So somebody comes up the register and they say, I'm thinking vegan chickpea or cold steak. What do you think? And you're like, well, I mean, I eat the vegan chickpea as a snack. It's my favorite snack here, but I love the chimichurri. I made it this morning. It's my favorite thing to make. And they go, okay, I'll have the cold steak. And then when their plate comes out, there's a little side cup of vegan chickpea mix. And then the customer's gonna be like, oh my goodness, they're paying attention to me, they're looking out for me, they're doing extra for me, and they feel great. It goes so far. And lastly, so I got all those, okay, I didn't miss any. Number 5. This is a really important skill, and not everybody knows when to do it. But the first thing is we are asking employees to be the best version of themselves. We're asking employees to give great first impressions. We're asking employees to meet their parents, their girlfriends or boyfriends' parents all day long and be awesome people, right? That's hard to do. It's hard to do forever. I can't do it all day. If I work the register, I might be able to do it for 2-3 hours. And in about 2 or 3 hours, I'm going to be like, hey, I'm going to go switch out with the dishwasher, okay? So it's a really important skill to know when to tap out. It's like my daughter said to me the other day, my social battery is getting low. So when you feel your social battery getting low and you're like, these customers are beating me down and I can't give the best of myself anymore, it's time to turn to somebody and be like, can I make salads for a while? And you come do the register, okay? So we got to know when to tap out. All right, I know it's time to tap out. It's time to move on to the end. The end. Now remember, in a customer experience movie, the first impression lasts like 5 seconds. It's really short. And the middle can be this really long time. And the end is when they start to clean up to the time they walk out of that door, okay? And something really important needs to happen in that 30-second window. Remember, this is when we ask them for a second date. So what we need to say to the customer is, thanks for coming in, have a nice day, goodbye, see you later, Joe. Any of those things that recognize that they were here with us, okay? So what we're doing when we greet them is we're saying, I see you as a person. And when we're saying goodbye is we're also saying we see you as a person, okay? If we don't greet them properly and we don't say goodbye and thank you properly, what we're really saying is you're just a transaction to us. You're just another number to move through. So a customer should not leave Graze without a thank you or goodbye. Remember, this is us saying, would you like to go on a second date? Now, I'm going to give you a little asterisk to that because I know all of you are thinking this. Well, the one of you in this room who works at downtown Graze. What do we do when it's slammed and there's tons of people in the dining room? We can't say goodbye to everybody. And that is absolutely true. So the little asterisk for this is when it's really busy, we're not able to say goodbye to everybody. Okay? When there's a line at the door, if we are standing here at the register and we're interacting with this person and then we're like, goodbye, goodbye, that takes away from the customer experience of this person. But what we are going to do is at 2 o'clock and at 1:30 and at 10:45, when there's not a line to the door and it's whatever, we're going to be like, as they're leaving, see you later, or as we're wiping tables down and we notice, oh, that, we notice that the table next to the one we're wiping, the person's getting ready to leave. They're close to done with their meal. Hey, thanks for coming in today, right? So that makes a better experience for them, makes a better experience for us. So not if it's super busy. The same applies for when the beginning, okay? And I'm going to circle back, but in our first impression part, oftentimes the first time we make eye contact with a customer with a busy line is when this customer steps out of the way, right? So there's customer right here, and we're talking to them, and then they go to get their drink, and they go like this, and then we go, hey, how are you today, right? The first thing we don't say to them when they turn is, what would you like? So we say, hey, how are you today? And they go, I'm great. And you go, good. Now we'll do this. One of the best tricks to making our experience better for customers and making experience better for us as employees is letting the customer know just how busy we are, right? This customer steps away, full dining room, crazy stuff's going on, step away, hey, how are you today? And they go, I'm great. And you go, man, it is slammed in here today. It is so busy. What is going on? Awesome. Okay, what can I get for you, right? And now they're like, yeah, it is busy. Look at those guys working away. And they're going to have more leniency towards if things take long or if things aren't as great as they possibly could, because they're going to see us as people just like we see them. All right. Last thing when it comes to the end, our DoorDash pickups, our Uber pickups, our DoorDash drivers, our Uber drivers, they need the same experience as regular customers, okay? But the thing is, there's no middle for a pickup, right? A pickup's sitting right here. There's no middle. The person walks in, they grab their bag, and they walk out. And I'll tell you, there's no worse customer experience than I place my order on DoorDash for pickup. I show up, there's no one in line, employees are working away. I walk in, I grab my bag, and I walk out the door, and nobody says anything to me. Okay? All we need is to make sure we're recognizing them. Hey, oh, how are you today? Oh, great, picking up, awesome, have a good day. Okay? Someone needs to just give them the beginning and the middle, the beginning and the end in like one tiny sentence, right? Just recognize them, thanks them for coming, and then they're going to come back again and again and again. So, last thoughts. You guys are doing great. You haven't laughed very often, and I've told a lot of really good jokes. I mean, okay. The person watching the video is laughing, but you guys aren't. Let's recap really quickly. Our vision for Graze customer service is to be known as the very best in the area. Very best in Tri-Cities, very best in Walla Walla. Take a poll of 1,000 people, give them a list of 20 restaurants that are all similar to us. We want the most votes, okay? Our daily goal is to make each customer's day a little bit better, right? And lastly, if we can take those thoughts, just like good value, good food, good service, we're going to sum up today's thing in like 3 very simple steps. The first very simple thing is genuinely greet people. Genuinely greet customers, people. Customers are people. Genuinely greet people, the customers. 2, I'm going to sum up the entire middle, which is just do nice things. If you can go out of your way for just a second or two to do something a little bit nice for a customer, they are going to be thrilled, overjoyed, and amazed at the experience they had. And the last thing is say goodbye and thank you. And if we can take and sum it up into those 3 things, I think we're going to very likely accomplish our big giant vision. And to be honest, I think we're already pretty close to there. I bet if you pulled 1,000 people and you gave them a list of the names in Tri-Cities and Walla Walla, we're probably pretty close to the top, or we are the top already. For you who are watching this at the end of your 30 days or wherever you are in the journey, I wish you great success. I hope you use these skills to get better at working here, and you can take these skills with you on to wherever you may go. Good luck on your review coming up. Good luck on your 90-day review. And then you got the skills test at 6 months. I think you're going to do great. Oh, that's our timer. I can't believe it. I knew this was going to happen. All right, I'm gonna wrap. I'm not even going to turn it off. I'm just going to wrap it up. So anyway, thanks for watching. Do well, and I wish you the best of luck. Bye. Welcome to the drive-through addendum to the customer service training thing. So this is Courtney Sullivan, Walla Walla General Manager. Courtney remembers most of those old things from back in the day. What year did you start here?
May of 2011.
May of 2011. So Graze have been open not a year and a half. We've been open a year and a half. And Courtney was here for a year, and then at the tender age of
21,
Courtney was the drive-through manager, and she's been the drive-through person in charge, big boss, general manager ever since. So welcome to my podcast. Okay, so we're gonna just talk for just a couple minutes about how the drive-through is different than what we just talked about in the customer experience thing. Courtney, what would you say is the biggest differentiator between that experience and the downtown experience?
Well, everything's fast-paced, so it gets really sped up. He talked about a beginning, middle, and end, and ours, maybe yours goes up to like an hour worth of time. Ours is sped up between 1 minute, usually.
Yeah, it's like a 5-second beginning.
Yes.
It's like, it could be like even a 30-second middle and a 5-second end. The transactional time.
Yeah.
So all the middle skills, we don't do all of them, but they get squished into that middle.
Exactly.
What would you say is the biggest? So we have a lot of things we can do at Graze in the middle to make people feel better. But in the drive-through, what do you think in that middle? What are some of the most important things?
Well, the same thing as dine-in, the eye contact when you meet them. So they're pulling up to the window or you're talking on the headset. That's the way of communicating with them. But I think that after the greeting, the most important thing would be giving them space to speak. Most drive-thrus are super transactional. So he's already talked about that in the last videos. But when you go to a drive-thru, usually they're like, open, what do you want? Okay, total, close the window, do the transaction, open the window, give you your receipt, close the window, tell you to go forward. And it just really is super transactional. For us, it's, hi, welcome to Graze. Oh, you had your order, here you go. The window's usually open the entire time, whereas it's not open, close, and that allows them the space to speak to us. Usually when we greet them, we pause to have space for them to speak, because then that feels more like a genuine conversation versus a transaction. So.
Yeah, they're not like cattle lined up,
Yes,
ready to
like,
be slaughtered
yeah.
like at other fast food establishment, right? 'Cause
Yeah.
it's squawk box, roll up to the first window, total, next window, here's your food, drive away.
Yes.
There's like no human connection
Exactly.
in that process.
So sometimes naturally what happens is someone orders at the squawk box or window, and it's a sandwich that takes a minute. So the window's just open and you've already done all you could do. You've greeted them and took their order and called it out, and someone's making it, and there's that weird in-between time of, what do I do? Well, a lot of times when we have a moment, we make small talk. If it feels genuine and natural, sometimes people are on their phone texting, just waiting for that, or sometimes they just start talking about their day and we're the ones who are listening. So that allows that space that makes it different than any other fast food chain.
And there's a certain percentage of people out there who maybe live alone, or maybe they don't have a lot of family, or they're whatever. They're looking for a slight human connection each day. And when they come to us and they come to their first time and they realize it's a little different than another drive-through,
Yeah.
then they might be like, I haven't really talked to anybody today. I might be working home. Maybe they work at home and they're online all day, and then they're like, I need a little connection. I would say it might be 10% of our customer base is literally looking for someone to talk to each day.
Exactly.
Awesome.
And that's really it when it comes to drive-through. It's that pleasant, oh, they recognize me. Oh, they want to talk to me for a moment. Oh, I know the food's going to be good. I know the value is going to be good, but I came in to a drive-through, which the expectation is move these people out quickly. Oh, they stopped and gave me a moment, even though it was in a fast manner. It's just, it's good service.
It feels like a different experience than going to a traditional drive-through.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you'd like to share with the viewers here?
I think that's everything.
I mean, this is my first podcast ever, so it's pretty short for a first podcast.
Well, it's short and sweet like the drive-through, so.
All right, that's it. You're done. You don't have any more videos to watch for Graze until I invent some new ones. Have a good day, guys. Bye.